ואילו פינו מלא שיר הקיים ולשוננו רינה וידינו פרוסות כנשרי שמיים ורגלינו קלות כאיילות. ואילו פינו מלא שיר הקיים ולשוננו רינה וידינו פרוסות כנשרי שמיים ורגלינו קלות כאיילות. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך ולברך את שמך מלך מלכי המלכים, מלך מלכי המלכים, מלך מלכי המלכים. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך ולברך את שמך מלכנו. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך ולברך את שמך מלכנו.
אילו פינו מלא שיר הקיים ולשוננו רינה וידינו פרוסות כנשרי שמיים ורגלינו קלות כאיילות. ואילו פינו מלא שיר הקיים ולשוננו רינה וידינו פרוסות כנשרי שמיים ורגלינו קלות כאיילות. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך ולברך את שמך מלך מלכי המלכים, מלך מלכי המלכים, מלך מלכי המלכים. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך ולברך את שמך מלכנו. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך ולברך את שמך מלכנו, מלכנו, מלכנו.
בוקר טוב. Thank you, Zach. Now that we turn our original sound. First word that we say in the morning is grateful I am. Not because gratitude is the thing that happens to us most naturally, but certainly because we want to experience a joyful day, and we know that the key for joy is gratitude. So we start by ourselves. We start by expressing our gratitude for being who we are and for having God's trust live at our best, to become the best version of ourselves. מודה אני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שחסרת ונשמתי בחמלה. מודה אני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שחסרת ונשמתי בחמלה. רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך. I offer thanks to you, ever living sovereign, that you have restored my soul to me in mercy. How great is your trust. אני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שחסרת ונשמתי בחמלה. מודה אני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שחסרת ונשמתי בחמלה. רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך. Boker Tov. Good morning to all those that are joining us on Facebook and YouTube. Good morning, Gavi, Zach, and good morning, Noga. And good morning also, I want to acknowledge Mark Silverstein, who is helping all those that are connecting online with page numbers and song guidance throughout the Siddur. So, good morning, Mark, and thank you for all your efforts. Gabi, page 192. You wanted to read something, right? I know we didn't. We said that we weren't going to read something. Yeah, right. We were thinking about a reading that we are not going to use this morning. But what we wanted to say is that we acknowledge all those that are entering this sanctuary, that build with us, Keilah Kedosha, a sacred community, with their presence online or when we are in person, but they are part of our village. And as we look around our village and we enter this sacred space, we say, Ma tovu alecha Yaakov. How wonderful are your tents, Jacob. take a moment to acknowledge our bodies. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, Sovereign of the universe, who formed the human body with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it would be impossible to endure and stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals all flesh, working wondrously. And as we recognize our bodies, we recognize also that we carry something that is beyond time, that we are soulful beings, and a piece of eternity dwell in our midst. We connect with that, with our spirits, with our neshamot, also with our bodies. So I invite you to take a moment to think about your body and to try to sit comfortably wherever you are sitting. You might be in your couch, you might be in a chair, you might still in bed. And as you sit a bit more comfortably, we try to become aware of our breath. Breathe in and out. Once again, in and out. Elohai, neshama שנתת בי, בהולאים, אלוהי, נשמה שנתת בי, בהולאים, אתה בראת, אתה יצרת, אתה נפחת בי, ואתה משמרה בקרבי, ואתה עתיד לתלה ממני ולהחזירה בי, ועתיד לבוא. כל הזמן שנשמה בקרבי מודה אני לפניך, כל הזמן שנשמה בקרבי מודה אני לפניך. אלוהי, אלוהי, אלוהי אבותיי, אדוני, אלוהי, אלוהי אמותיי, ריבון כל המסים, אדון כל הנשמות, ריבון כל המסים, אדון כל הנשמות. אלוהי, נשמה שנתת source of all creation, sovereign of all souls. Praise are you, Adonai, in whose hand is every living soul and the breath of humankind. Baruch atah Adonai, asher beyado nefesh kol chai, beruach kol basar ish. Page 198, Birkot HaShachar, the blessings for the daily miracles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who frees the captive.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who lifts up the fallen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who stretches the earth over the waters.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who strengthens our steps.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malvish adumim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten le'ahav kol.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, המעביר שינה מעיני ודממה מיף אפיים.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שעשני בצלם אלוהים.
Who created all human being equal. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given me free will.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam,
has
שעשני
made me a
מישראל.
Jew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, אוסר ישראל בגבורם.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, עוטר ישראל בתפארה.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו, וציוונו לעסוק בדברי תורה. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage with words of Torah. O Adonai, our God, let the words of your Torah be sweet in our mouths and the mouths of all your people Israel, so that we, our descendants, and the descendants of all your people Israel may know you by studying your Torah for its own sake. Blessed are you, Adonai, who teaches Torah to your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, המלמד תורה לעמו ישראל. The reason right at the beginning of our morning we do the blessing for the study of Torah is because we want to daily engage in Torah study, because we believe that Torah study helps us see more clearly, help us think about our lives and our decision making more clearly, and of course gives and provides light to our journeys. אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור שאדם אוכל פלותיהם בעולם הזה, והקרן קיימת לו לעולם הבא, ואלו הם כיבוד האב בהם, גמילות חסדים, השכמת בית המדרש, שחרית בערבית בהכנסת אורחים וביקור חולים, בהכנסת כלה ולוויית המת, בעיון תפילה, בהבאת שלום בין אדם לחברו, בתלמוד תורה כנגד כולם. These are the things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all. We turn our Sidurim to page 212 for the blessing for the Psukei de Simbra, in which we undertake the challenge of uplifting our souls.
Baruch Shemo, Baruch Ose Bereshit, Baruch Omer Ve'ose, Baruch Gozer U'Mekayem, Baruch Merachem Al Haaretz, Baruch Merachem Al Habriot, Baruch Mishalem Sachetov Lireav, Baruch Ela'ad V'Kayam Lanetzach, Baruch Bodeh U'Matzil, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo.
With songs of praise, we extol you and proclaim your sovereignty. For you are the source of life in the universe. One God, life of the universe. Praise and glory is ruler. Your name is eternal. Melech Me'ulai, Batish Vachor, Baruch Atah Adonai. Melech Me'ulai, Batish Vachor, Dai 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 Dai, Dai 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 Dai. Melech Me'ulai, Batish Vachor, Melech Me'ulai, Batish Vachor. Page 214, מזמור שיר ליום השבת.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, אליי 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 אליי, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, אליי 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 אליי. טוב להודות לאדוני, לזמר לשמך היום, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי אסון ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בחינות, עלי אסון ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בחינות. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, אליי 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 אליי. צדיק אדמה יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו, עוד ינובון בשיבה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני, צורים אליו לטובות. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, אליי 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 אליי.
Page 215. אשרי העם שככה לו, אשרי העם שאדוני אלוהיו, אשרי העם שככה לו, אשרי העם שאדוני אלוהיו, אשרי יושבי ביתך עובדי הללוכה צאלה, אשרי יושבי ביתך עובדי הללוכה אשרי העם שאדוני אלוהיו, אשרי העם שככה לו, אשרי העם שאדוני אלוהיו. And I want to promise you that you will be able to lift up your spirit if you actually join us in song. Even if you are home and you feel that you are lonely, if you add your voice, you will know that you are participating in something that is bigger than your own self. And I'm sure that you will uplift your spirit. So give it a try. אשרי העם שככה לו, אשרי העם שאדוני אלוהיו, אשרי העם שככה לו, אשרי העם שאדוני אלוהיו. Once again, אשרי העם שככה לו, אשרי העם שאדוני אלוהיו, אשרי העם שככה לו, אשרי העם שאדוני אלוהיו. וככה לו, just like that, we mean to the work of mitzvot, to the great mitzvah of living with joy, working hard in order to have joy in our lives that sometimes is not so easy. תהילת לדוד, הרוממך אלוהי המלך, בברכה שמך לעולם ועד.
בכל יום אברכך והללה שמך לעולם ועד.
גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, וגדולתו אין חקר.
דור לדור ישבח מעשיך וגבורותיך יגידו.
על כבוד הודיך ודברי נפלאותיך השיחה.
וזוז נורותיך יאמרו גדולתך אספרנה.
זכר טובך יביאו בצדקתך ירננו.
חנון ברחום אדוני ערך אפיים וגדל חסד.
טוב אדוני לכל ורחמיו על כל מעשיו.
ידוך אדוני כל מעשיך וחסידיך יברכוך.
כבוד מלכותך יאמרו בגבורתך ידברו.
להודיע לבני אדם גבורותיו וכבוד הדר מלכותו.
מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, שולטך בכל דור ודור.
סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים וזוקף לכל הכפופים.
עיני כל אליך יישברו ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם, ואיתו פותח את ידיך
ומשביע לכל חי רצון.
צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, בחסיד בכל מצב.
קרוב אדוני לכל קוראיו, לכל אשר קראו באמת.
שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל הרשעים ישמיד. תהילת אדוני ידבר פיו, ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד.
ואנחנו נברך יה מעתה ועד עולם, הללויה.
Page 218, Psalm 150, Hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 el bekocho, hallelujah, hallelujah, bilkia uso, hallelujah. תהלליה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה, איי איי איי, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה. נשמת כל חי תתברך את שמך, אדוני אלוהינו, מרוח כל בשר תפאר ותתרומן זכרך, מלכנו תמיד. We have no sovereign besides you, God of the first and the last, God of all creatures, Master of all generations, who is praised in a multitude of praises, who guides the world with abundant loving kindness, and all creatures with mercy. Adonai neither slumbers nor sleeps. God awakens the sleeping, arouses those who slumber, and gives speech to the mute. And God loosens the bonds of captives. God supports the fallen and strengthens those who are bent over. You alone do we acknowledge. We are on page 220.
אלופינו, מלא שיר הקיים, ולשוננו רינה, וידינו פרוסות, כנשרי שמיים, ורגלינו קלות כעיינות. אלופינו, מלא שיר הקיים, ולשוננו רינה, וידינו פרוסות, כנשרי שמיים, ורגלינו קלות כעיינות. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך, ולברך את שמך מלכנו. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך, ולברך את שמך מלך מלכי המלכים, מלך מלכי המלכים, מלך מלכי המלכים. אלופינו, מלא שיר הקיים, ולשוננו רינה, וידינו פרוסות, כנשרי שמיים, ורגלינו קלות כעיינות. אלופינו, מלא שיר הקיים, ולשוננו רינה, וידינו פרוסות, כנשרי שמיים, ורגלינו קלות כעיינות.
For every mouth will acknowledge you, and every tongue pledge homage to you. Every knee bend in your presence. Every upright person shall bow before you. Every heart will revere you, and every inmost thought will sing to your name. And David said, "Let all my bones exclaim, who is like you, Adonai?" As David continued, "Bless Adonai, O my soul, and let my inner being praise your holy name."
Page 222.
שוכן עד מרום וקדוש שמו, וכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני, לישרים נבא תהילה, בפי ישרים תתהלל, ובדברי צדיקים תתברך, ובלשון חסידים תתרומם, ובקרב קדושים תתקדש. ובמקלות ריבות עמך בית ישראל, ברינה יתבר שמך מלכנו, בכל דור ודור. ישבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול הקדוש בשמיים ובארץ. כי לך נאה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, שהוא שפחה עליו וזמרה, עוז ממשלה נצח גדולה גבורה, תהילה ותפארת, קדושה ומלכות, ברכות ועולות מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני.
Shalom.
אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך ערכי העולמים.
Page 224.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועמד יברך ירותי וימליך מלכותי.
בחייכם וביומכם ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יש מרב המבורך לעולם ולא בעלמיה
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קדושה
בריחו
לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמה, ואמרו
Amen. We're on page 226. For Baruch, the blessing that gives us access to the Shema, to the moment in which we acknowledge the unity of God. And as we think about that unity, we also recognize the diversity of the meaning of being created in God's likeness, our diversity, the diversity of our minyan, the diversity of those praying together. And we say to all of them, to all of us, that we count.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai המבורך לעולם ועד. You may be seated. Praise are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy, you illuminate the world and those who live upon it. המאיר לארץ ולהרים עליה ברחמים. המאיר הארץ עולה להרים, עליה ברחמים, ובטובו מחדש בכל יום תמיד מעשה בראשית. ברבו ומעשיך אדוני כולם, בחוכמה עשיתם מלוא הארץ. קנייניך, קנייניך, כל חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו ובטובו מחדש בכל יום תמיד מעשה בראשית. ברבו ומעשיך אדוני כולם, בחוכמה עשיתם מלוא הארץ. קנייניך, קנייניך, ברוך אתה אדוני, creator of all heavenly light, יוצר המאורות. אהבתנו אדוני אלוהינו, חמלה גדולה ויתרה עמלת עלינו. On account of our forbearance, whose trust led you, the laws, by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, to learn, and to teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your holy Torah. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah, focus our minds on your mitzvot, unite our hearts in love and reverence for your name. Let us in peace from the four corners of the earth, and lead us aright to our land. For your God work wonders, you chose us, truly you drew us near to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Baruch atah Adonai, המוכר בעמו, ישראל בעמם. Now we're still into page 232. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please join me with the Ahavta on page 234. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוך בך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. We continue in English in the middle of page 236. Adonai said to Moses as follows, "Speak to the Israelite people and instruct them to make for themselves fringes on the corners of their garments throughout the ages. Let them attach a cord of blue to the fringe at each corner. That shall be your fringe. Look at it and recall all the commandments of Adonai and observe them, so that you do not follow your heart and eyes in your lustful urge. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
אמת ביציב והוא בחביב ונורא בדל בטוב ביפה, הדבר יעשה עלינו לעולם ועד.
Life without integrity is like loosely hanging threads, easily fraying from the main cloth. While in acts of piety, we learn to understand that every instant is like a thread raveling out of eternity to form a delicate tassel. We must not cast off the threads, but weave them into the design of an eternal fabric. Each day points to eternity. The fate of all time depends upon a single moment.
Emet, there is no place where you are not. Even in the wilderness, there is your word. Emet, that pen strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame, stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way. True and enduring is Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established, now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out and rejoice.
Page 240. אתה תפילת עמידה is on page 242. We invite you to follow the words of our tradition, or alternatively to take some time for personal meditation, for personal reflection.
Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Avraham be'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei hakol atah rav le'hoshia. Morid hatah, mechalkei chayim bechesed, mechayei hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim berofei cholim. ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדום מלך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hakol. Mekadesh et shemcha ha'olam, Shabbat nishim oto mishneh v'katuv hayad be'echa, v'kavaz be'ezeh נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים
קדושתך נקדיש, בשבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, הורי הולך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, הורי הולך שבת. שלום, תבוא ברכה. יהיו לרצונים רפי בהגיום ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי וגואלי. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו Shabbos. So we will study some Torah together today. we are not reading, but we are going to read from Parashat Be'alotecha. That comes from the word? La'alot. It's interesting, even when it is not in that specific context, to ask, how do we elevate ourselves? So it might be different from what we usually tend to do when we want to elevate ourselves. I will share my screen. God knows where is it. Just a moment. Before I share my screen, I need to find the document. Here is the document. That's good news. And now I'm going to share my screen. Here it is. Share screen. Here it is. So the question was, how do we elevate ourselves? And the topic that I want to explore is actually humility. Gabi, would you like to be our first reader in English?
Sure.
So let me just give you the context. We mentioned this yesterday a little bit, but there's a moment after the children of Israel receive manna that they start to complain. They start complaining and they start yearning for Egypt, and they miss the taste of the kishuim, that in English is translated as cucumbers, but actually kishuim in Hebrew is zucchinis. So God knows what they were yearning for, but they were yearning for some vegetable and for garlic and for leeks and for fish. In the middle of the desert, they were yearning for fish, and they are given, at the end of the day, tons of meat. But something happens to Moshe. Something happens to Moses in that moment. And so what does Moses say, Gabi? You can read it for all of us.
I cannot carry all these people by myself, for it is too much for me. If you would deal thus with me, kill me rather, I beg you, and let me see no more of my wretchedness.
Look at that. Like Moses saying, like, I'm done. I cannot do this anymore. Kill me. Kill me. This is too much for me. This is too much for me. Now, it looks like a parody, but I think Moses, and we spoke about that yesterday, that he reached the bottom in this moment. This is not just a reaction. Like Moses is in a moment of, I think, a moment of humility, a moment in which he feels that even though he has been trying to deal with everything himself, and let me take you back to Parashat Yitro, right? That moment in which Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, comes to visit him, looks at the work that he's doing, and he says, you cannot be working 24/7. This is not feasible. You need to come to terms with a different way to operate. And Moses listens to him, and to some extent he obeys to his father-in-law because of his humility, because of his love toward him, but he doesn't really get it. And right now, it's like the reality is blowing up in his face. This is too much for him to carry alone. So what does God say?
God says,
Then the Lord said to Moses,
gather for me 70 of Israel's elders, of whom you have experience as elders and officers of the people, and bring them to the tent of meeting, and let them take their place there with you.
So God says, we're going to bring you a group of people that will work with you. So you won't need to carry along anymore. And then,
I will come down and speak with you there, and I will draw upon the spirit that is on you and put it upon them. They shall share the burden of the people with you, and you shall not bear it alone.
So what basically God is telling to Moses is, we are going to create a group of people, 70 people. That number ring any bell? 70, but 7, sure, creation. But what else? The Great Assembly, the Sanhedrin, 70 people. And the first, we move later to 120, which is representative to what we have today in the Knesset for a different conversation. But 70 people that will be given spirit of prophecy. They are going to be able to be carriers of this message. Not 70 people that will have 70 different messages. 70 people that will work with you, will create synergy with you, and we pull and push together with you. So whatever work you need to undertake, they will be with you. Now, so this is the first part. So these people are going to have prophecy. And what happens immediately after that?
Moses went out and reported the words of the Lord to the people. He gathered 70 of the people's elders and stationed them around the tent. Then the Lord came down in a cloud and spoke to him. He drew upon the spirit that was on him and put it upon the 70 elders. And when the spirit rested upon them, they spoke in ecstasy but did not continue.
Okay, so now we have 70 new prophets. Now, two men, one named Eldad and the other Medad, had remained in camp, yet the Spirit rested upon them. They were among those recorded, but they had not gone out to the tent, and they spoke in ecstasy in the camp. Okay, so here's what's happening. God is saying, we're going to nominate 70 people, gather them. They all go to a tent. God provides them with prophetic spirit, because these were very wise people, very well-prepared people. And two of them don't go into this event, this instructional event, if you want, and they remain in their tent, but they still have this spirit of ecstasy and this spirit, this prophetic spirit. And then the Torah tells us that there is a young man who ran out and told Moses, Eldad and Medad are acting the prophet, not in the general gathering, but in the camp. And see what happened now. And Joshua, the son of Nun, who is like Moses' right hand, well, the translation says Moses' attendant, says, restrain them. Moses restrained them. And the word in Hebrew is, Moshe, Adoni Moshe, myself, Kil'am. And that can be translated in two different ways. One is destroy them. That's a tough translation. And the other one is put them in prison. Now, Moshe tells him, are you jealous? The word is jealous is atamekane. Are you jealous on my account? Are you like defending my honor? And then Moses says, I wish that all the Lord's people were prophets, that the Lord put his spirit upon them. ויאסף משה אל המחנה ובזקני ישראל. Now, Moses then re-entered the camp together with the elders of Israel. Now, the question is, what's happening with these two men? Why they are not coming, and why they are prophesying in their tent? And the reason, what Torah, we want to read that in the Midrash, is that they are too humble. They feel that they are not worthy of having prophetic spirit, so they are to some extent embarrassed and they decide not to go out of humility. Now, it gets more complicated because the thing, bless you, the thing that they are prophesying is that Joshua is going to become the leader of the Jewish people at some point. So Joshua, out of humility, doesn't want them to say anything about that because he doesn't want to hurt the honor of his master. Now, Edad and Medad and Eldad, they don't want to go out of humility. Joshua is very out of humility, don't want anyone to hear their prophecy. And what does Moses say? Also, out of humility, says, it's just fine. No, don't fight on my account. It's fine. And then he goes farther than that. He says, I wish all the people of Israel were prophets. I wish all the people of Israel had the skill, the strength to be carriers of this message. And this is again something happening after this humbling moment. But it's not just that we think that Moses is humble. The Torah tells us that Moses is a very humble man. And the very interesting thing that this happens immediately after his siblings gossip about him. So Miriam and Aaron are having a conversation, okay, and they complain about Moses. They complain about the woman he has married, Zipporah, and they complain about the fact that his relationship with God is different. And then the Torah tells us that so they say, has the Lord spoken only through Moses? Has he not spoken through us as well? The Lord, and then the one who hears it is God. They are gossiping, and the one who hears is God. Now, why is this distinction? Because the Torah is making the case that even if Moses himself heard, it doesn't matter to him. It doesn't affect him. And the Torah says then, now Moses was a very humble man. Vaish Moshe anav meod, more so than any other man on earth. Meod, meod, meod anav. Anav mikol האדם asher al pnei האדמה. Now, an interesting thing, we're gonna skip that, is that this humility is what actually prevents Moses from reacting. We learn in Mishlei, in the book of Proverbs, written by, who wrote the Proverbs in our tradition? I'm waiting for answers in the comments, but if you don't know, I tell you, the one who wrote the Proverbs, or the Proverbs are attributed to, is Melech Shlomo, King Solomon. And the Proverbs say, Ekev anava, the effect of humility is fear of the Lord, wealth, honor, and life. Ekev anava, irat Adonai, osher, bekavod, bechaim. Now, anava soti, this humility is the foundation, apparently, of Moses' riches. And why is that? Well, Chefetz Chaim explains his introduction to Ilhot Lashon Hara, for the laws to evil speech, that people have a tendency to incur in evil speech. We have a tendency to criticize, to complain. And that's a very almost instinctive thing. And this is happening not to just like a normal character in the Torah. This is happening to Miriam and to Aaron. These are two giants. These are two remarkable people. And even though they are remarkable, they have this flaw. What is even more remarkable is the fact that Moses doesn't feel compelled to react to that. He doesn't even hear that. The Lord heard, God heard that. For Moses, is irrelevant information. He wants to move on. He's ready to move on. Because there's a trend, there's a common denominator to this story, and it's that Moses understands most of the time that this is not about him. Not everything is about himself. This is about them. This is about their experience. This is not about him. Same thing that he understood when he feels excited about having 70 new prophets. Now, I want to go a bit deeper into this idea of humility, and I want to share something that Rabbi Kedushat from Kedushat Levi, written by Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, one of the Hasidic masters. Can you, Gabi, do you want to be our reader? Just to have some variety?
Sure.
Here you go.
One of the most welcome phenomena on earth that God looks upon with the greatest pleasure is the virtue of humility. This thought is reflected in Proverbs 22:4. The natural result of humility is fear of the Lord. The more people practice humility, the greater the holiness of God. The virtue of humility is not only great, but is most difficult to acquire. First, one must possess qualities that are the result of building one's character. Once one does possess these qualities, which others boast about, one must go about one's business as if unaware of possessing such qualities. If Moses had responded to the accusation of his sister Miriam, had he heard them, he would have done so at the expense of his humility.
So, I want to emphasize that we don't pray not to incur in evil speech, in Lashon Hara. We pray to find humility. We hope, we pray to understand that not everything is about us. And we hope to be able to respond with humility, even sometimes when we are hurt, when we hear and we don't like what we are hearing. Now, an interesting thing, an interesting concept to understand in this context is the mystical idea of stepping back, of tzimtzum. Let's read this, and then this is beautifully explained by Rabbi Gershon Winkler and Lakma Batia Elior, and we'll discuss it in a minute. The place where you are standing is holy. A Jewish theology on human relationships, that's the name of the book. And as they explain there the concept of tzimtzum. In the creation myth of ancient Judaism mysticism, God creates the universe by a process dubbed tzimtzum, which in Hebrew means a sort of stepping back, to allow for there to be another, an else. As I can read it from here. It's closer, just a second. as in something or someone else. The Judaic notion of a wall of free will is deeply rooted in this concept, in the understanding that in creating life, the Ein Sof, or the endless one, subdued the omnipotent, all-embracing divine presence for the sake of the realization of the divine will that there be other beings. Our world, then, is the sacred space that the Great Spirit gave us as a gift to us. A space in which to be as human, as divinely possible, and as divine as humanly possible. A space to err, to fall, to believe, to doubt, to cry, to laugh. Our space, created by the simple motion of stepping back. The humble act of honoring the separate reality of another. The humble act of honoring the separate reality of another. I think that Moses' leadership is a high bar of the meaning of understanding and internalizing that not everything is about us, and that entire worlds and healing can be created when we humbly step back. And we don't just learn that from Moses, we learn that from the divine presence itself, from the Ein Sof itself. So in this Parashat HaShavua, Parashat Be'alotecha, we think about our relationships. We think about things that we have heard and they might have heard us. And we think about the meaning of stepping back, of creating space, and understanding that not everything, even when we are heard, is about us. May all of us find humility and Ava, like our rabbi and our prophet Moses. Shabbat Shalom. We take now a moment to acknowledge people that are dealing with illness in our community, illness in their spirits, illness in their bodies, people dealing with addictions. During this special time, we also think about first responders, people that are standing in the front lines. Together on page 371, sing and pray for their health. them רפואה שלמה והחלמה מהירה. page 506. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשה לנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם בגורלנו ככל ההמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, עד קדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ביוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו בגובי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום בהשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ועל כן נקווה לך אדוני אלוהינו לראות במהרה בתפארת עוזך, להעביר גלולים מן הארץ בלילים כלות יכרתו, לתקן עולם במלכות שדי, לכל בני בשר יקראו בשמך, להפנות אליך כל ראשי הארץ. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. This time we take a moment to acknowledge mourners among our community. We think of people during the first 7 days of mourning Shiva, during the first 30 days of mourning Shloshim, during the cycle of the first year of mourning, and of course we think of those that have a Yortzeit, an anniversary of death, this week. We invite you to write the names of your dear ones in the comments on Facebook or on YouTube. We're on page 598. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמה דברה חילותה, וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון ובמכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, באמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירם בעלמה, באמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, בחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, באמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, באמרו אמן. May the memories of your dear ones be a blessing. יהא זכרם ברוך. So, a few exciting things that I'd like to share is, by the end of this week, we will be publishing Gabi's class that is going to bring some comfort to those that are missing our choir activities, and we keep talking and engaging on how we are going to celebrate the High Holidays, and how the online experience, that some part of that for sure will be online, will represent our willing to feel community and to feel each other's presence. Rabbi Daniel will be reaching out this week, trying to put together to some of you, trying to think about different areas of interest, to do some summer study. So if he doesn't reach out to you, he will reach out to some of the people that participated in his previous classes. But if he doesn't reach out to you and you would like to engage, Shalom Newman, I saw him behind you, and if you would like to give him your input, please reach out to him. Please let him know what you would like to study and to participate in, so you can bring your input. In addition, we will be announcing just in a few days with a formal flyer, but we can say that there is going to be another Seekers class starting next year for those that are willing to deepen their connection with Judaism, or those that are not Jews and they are trying to learn more about Jewish tradition. This is also a class for those that are seeking an introduction to Judaism, very philosophical introduction to Judaism. I say philosophical, Rabbi Daniel would say very historical. Each of us has his different, his specific area, but we truly believe that it's a beautiful space to study, so we encourage you to join. And in addition, we will have a class called Judaism with all your heart and all your mind that we will be starting by the end of the summer, and we'll cover things like Kabbalah and Hasidut, the Hasidic movement and Hasidic practices, and the enlightening movement, Tnuat HaSkala, and some of the most important Jewish philosophers. So lots of Torah study, lots of spirituality. We encourage you to join us to any of those classes. And if we are blessed enough to have those classes in person, we will try to find a way to also have them as an opportunity to join us online. So these classes are going to be offered for everyone in our community. With all that said, we are going to conclude our service on page 625 with Adon Olam.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת עשה בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. Shabbat Shalom.